Hey, it's that time again. But today we're going to be talking about something that's been plaguing the anime community for years now. And if you've seen by the title, you already know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're going to be talking about power scaling. But we're not just going to be talking about what power scaling is and where it came from. Fuck no, we're going to talk about why it's so useless. Because if you've been in the anime community long enough, you always see people putting characters against characters and scaling them and see which one is stronger, faster, or just overall better than the other. But what if I told you that everything they scale within these mangas and animes, what you see is not actually accurate? Well, let me break this down to you in a way you can understand. When mangakas are creating their series, they're not thinking about the math or the science behind what they're doing. No, they just draw things that look cool. As you can even see in some series, you have characters like Goku that later in the series they get affected by bullets when earlier they were able to swat away beams that can damn near destroy the fucking planet. That's why when I see power scalers put the numbers together and say that a character can take 5 nuclear bombs at the same time, even though that's up for the writer to decide. Yeah, if the writer wanted to, he can make a planet busting character get affected by a fucking heart disease if that's what he so wanted to. Nigga, a mosquito can come and bite your most durable favorite character in the world and somehow kill him through that, if that's what the writer intends to do. Essentially, all the feats that characters do in a show matter not, because you can see your favorite character take the strongest technique in this universe and still be affected by something else if that's what the writer intends to do. So just to break it down to you, there is no math or science in what these characters are actually doing. It just happens because that's what the author wanted to write and that's what they thought looked cool. And hey, I'm not arguing against the fact that these characters, if they're shown to blow up a planet, they can blow up a planet. I'm not arguing against that fact. The fact of the matter is, we can talk about numbers and science all day just to somehow be contradicted in the show when something else happens. For instance, when Goku was shot by a regular standard laser beam from one of the Frieza Force members in the Resurrection F movie, he was shot through the heart by the tiniest beam and was about to die. And keep in mind, he was in his God form. No, he was in Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan form, and he wasn't able to take a smallest standard beam that the Frieza Force member had. Earlier in the show, he was able to do so many different things and take planet busting attacks and lift it up on his hands and throw it back, do all types of shit. But when it came down to that, at the end, it didn't matter at all. Who's to say that because Goku took a small standard laser beam from one of the Frieza Force members, Naruto can't just Rasengan him and kill him too? And how are you gonna argue with that point? We've seen Naruto box gods before. This is nothing new to Naruto. He's been in outer space fighting another god, and he's fight gods on a daily, it seems like. Hell, he even gave some of his power to his son and put it into Rasengan, and that Rasengan killed an Otsuki, which is a god in the universe. There is no science, there is no logic, there is no math behind it. Only thing that remains in these series is what the artist intends to do with their character. So by now, if I haven't repeated it enough, which I'm pretty sure you already heard a million times, and I just really wanted to drive that in your head, so when you go to power scale, you will understand that one point you can take away from this video. And I won't repeat it this time, I swear to God. That's literally why power scaling is useless. It makes no sense to do when there are so many different contradicting feats within so many different series. You just never have a what's the lowest he can take and what's the highest of a take. If in the later form he can't take this, but in the lesser form he can take this, it just doesn't make any sense to do. But let's not let this distract us from the obvious points. We all know their characters are obviously stronger than the other, but I don't get the speed feats. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when mangakas want to show off speeds, they just show their character vanishing. Now, it's always funny to me when these characters vanish in attack because the mangaka thought, oh my god, this is gonna be an intense cool fight scene. The people in the community automatically take that for being a speed feat depending on what they dodge. Like they say, oh my god, he dodged the laser beam that went this fast and light travels at this. I mean, bro, like any anime character pretty much does that already automatically. When you see that little vanish, it doesn't mean that they're light speed or lightning speed. It just means that they were incomprehensible at that point, and you know, it just was what it was. It looked cool. What if we're watching a basketball series of well, let's say we're watching Blue Lock, and we see a character hit one of those nasty anime vanishes. Does that mean that they're now above light speed or above lightning speed, depending on what they dodge? No, it doesn't. But unfortunately, mangakas have to kind of use that to explain away why they were able to do that. They kind of just go on in the data books and say, hey man, you know, they dodged that because they're light speed, because that's what the community said. Hey, it is what it is. You're welcome, community. Have it. This character is now light speed. Now every other character I have to make is going to be above light speed. Now, besides power scaling being useless in itself, I also want to give this time to say power scaling has probably ruined a lot of mangas and anime. Reason being is because mangakas now have to up the power levels in their show to remain consistent and interesting in their own series. If we know a character is capable of doing so much, why are we going to want to see him fight a lesser villain that can't do as much as he can? That's why we see some characters just come back out of nowhere from the past, or even just a new character in general, get the most Omega boost level of power and somehow get over 20 martial arts different techniques that they just learned now and are not able to go toe to toe with our main character that's been through the most grueling training process known to man and has so much different abilities and power himself. But that's what happens when power leveling is evolved in the series. It gets ruined because they keep having to upscale the newer people that come in, and when they make a new character, they kind of give them a half-ass explanation to why he's the same level as our character that we've seen for the past however many episodes or seasons. Again, it just doesn't make sense, which is why it always seems to ruin mangakas. We don't always need the next villain to be able to destroy multiple universes, planets, maybe even the solar system. No. And that's why I think JJK showed off the best. They gave us a villain that just understand how to use the power system in their show. Sukuna was just the embodiment of I fully understand how to use jujutsu and what it is capable of. He wasn't necessarily the strongest puncher. He couldn't punch a planet in half. He didn't have the strongest curse technique in the show. He just knew how to utilize what he had. But for other unfortunate series such as Dragon Ball, they keep having to up the power because they kind of ripped themselves in a hole, and they can't just dial it back now. They have to keep going up because there is no other way but up. That's why we got Daima in the first place. They wanted to scale everything back and show you a no take on the world. But hey, that's all I'm gonna rant about today. I think I got my points across. If you agree that power scaling either is useless or ruined the community of anime and manga, leave a comment and tell me why below. Other than that, go ahead, leave a like, and hey, you might as well subscribe. You've been here long enough, man. Come on, just do it.